Okay, hello everybody. Happy Thursday. For those of you who are here in person, thank you so much. Thank you to Tollisha Joseph for joining us. Thank you very much for that. And I have Michelle B with us as guest and Norman Neary as guest as well. And Tollisha, thanks again. And I do have a little bit of an echo for just a minute, but we will get this going. We'll get it started, party started right. And Ebony, thank you so much for being in the room as well. I appreciate that. If you want to come on stage in a little bit here, you're definitely welcome to do that as well. And Gloria, thanks for joining the room. Appreciate that. So let's go ahead and get started. You are in the right place at the right time. That's right. This is all about legacy and me. And the room, it's What's Your DNA, and you are in the official Glue Clubhouse room. So we have Tollisha Joseph, and I'm so honored to have her as our first official guest in the Legacy and Me discussion because she is the creator and the founder of the official Glue. And you'll find out more of the significance of that as she talks a bit about that. And also, she is a noted international speaker and a corporate facilitator and network strategist. That's right. All those things in one and so many other things that we just can't put on paper, but she'll be talking about that as she discusses a little bit more about her legacy. So as you notice, the title of this room is What's Your DNA? So if you think about DNA, I've talked in previous rooms about DNA being your personal DNA, but also your business DNA. So we're going to talk about those in one big piece, business and personal, and tie that in with your legacy. So if you think about legacy, you can't have a legacy if you don't have a past, and we all have a past because we were born. We have a life leading up to this point, and we have our DNA inside of us that's part of our legacy as well. So that is so important. And thank you so much for joining. We have another guest joining here, my dear friend, all the way from Germany. I appreciate that, Jeanette. Thanks for joining us. We have international participation here. Thanks, Jeanette. Good to see you. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll go make this a discussion, definitely a discussion. We'll leave a little bit of time at the end for questions from anybody in the audience, because we want to make sure that today you take back at least one gem, something today that you can implement immediately. And if you're open to it, I'd like to hear what that is so that we can actually put that on paper, because you know what gets put on paper gets done. So we'll make sure that we come back to each of you in the room. So thank you so much. And so I'm going to let Tollisha get started here. She can officially introduce herself. I've already talked a little bit about her, but if you could tell us who you are, and then we'll get started there. Okay, Tollisha?
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here and have everyone listening. This is amazing. And I'm happy to have Cynthia back. This is exciting. So my name is Tollisha Joseph. I am the founder and CEO of The Official Glue. And I help individuals master the art of networking so that they can get on the side of their business. And I am so excited to have this conversation with Cynthia here today and talk about the legacy of Glue, how it became where we are now, how I've managed to get all these amazing opportunities for myself and my business. So you will leave here with some gems, and I'm sure there'll be more than one on your plate by the time we wrap up this conversation.
That is so fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Tollisha, because I'm originally from near the Chicago area, but I'm in Louisiana now, in Lafayette, Louisiana, and we talk a lot about lagniappe here. And lagniappe is that giving that extra. And I know Tollisha is all about giving that extra to everybody she comes in contact with. So I can guarantee you will get that extra from her on today's discussion. So as we get started here, let's all make sure we're on the same page, right? What is a legacy? We think about legacy, there's so many different definitions. It can be used as a noun, it can be used as an adjective. And I actually went to, an official expert, right? The Merriam-Webster dictionary. And I had the definition of legacy. And it really talks about, it's used as a noun. It's basically what a person can bequest to another, right? Or what they leave as far as lessons learned and their material assets. But it's so much more than that. When used as an adjective, it's actually something that you can pass on and carry down as well. So I wanted to get started with that as the foundation, but I'd like to hear your definition of what you consider as legacy, Tollisha.
Yeah, I think legacy is, I hear so much feedback. Hold on. I'm going to try to mute this.
Oh, okay. No, you're on mute on the recording on Zoom.
So I'll do this.
Okay.
Just turn down the volume all the way. This is part of trying.
That's right. That's right, Tollisha. Can you hear on Zoom, Norman, if you could put a note in the chat, or Jeanette? Hi there, Yvonne. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Okay. Hi there, Yvonne. Yes, thank you. And Norman, can you hear Tollisha? Okay, go ahead and try it, Tollisha. Ebony can hear us. Oh, but Norman cannot. So yeah. Let's see, how can we? No. Okay. I can hear you. I can hear you on Clubhouse, but not on Zoom, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, now I can hear you on Zoom.
All right. So as long as it's not
Okay.
crazy. So my definition of legacy is what we're going to leave behind. I really interested in the legacy piece. I really didn't think about what my legacy would be until I became an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship really made me think about what that would be for me. What would that legacy be? What type of legacy do I want to leave for my children? What type of person would I want to be assumed to be when I leave this earth? So it's all about what am I going to be leaving behind. And when I am going through my business on a day-to-day, I'm always thinking about, like, how can I add value to people? How can I leave something on their plate that they can consume and remember? And when all is said and done, it would be amazing to say to hear that, I came in contact with Tollisha and she deeply impacted my life. That to me is legacy.
I love that. I absolutely love that, Talisha. And you're so right, because you want to make that mark, right? And you want to be able to inspire, elevate people as you move through. And you said a key word there about entrepreneurship, right? That business. Because when you think of legacy, it can be in so many different areas. It could be spiritual, emotional, mental, personal, physical, everything. But in today's discussion, we'll talk about more from an entrepreneurial perspective, right? So in this case, with the official glue and the networking that you do, that's the focus that we take in this particular room. But legacy, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, it can be anything in your life that you've had that has led you to this point and taken you to that next step in your life. That's the key piece here. And as with all of us in this room, I know Michelle, I know Norman wants to do this, Jeanette, Yvonne, also Ebony in the room with us. You want to leave a positive mark. That's what the key is here. And that's what this is all about. So thank you very much, Talisha, for sharing that. So I'd love to hear a little bit about, because legacy is all about the past, the present, and the future, right? So share with us a little bit about your story leading up to this particular point. What about the past? And then we'll talk about the present. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think when I think about where I started and how I started my company, I had an epiphany. Like, really, one day I just had an epiphany. And I was working in a hospitality industry, and a young man that I was working with, he wanted to go to a marketing job fair. And he was dressed really boring and bland. And so he had on khaki pants and a blue button-up shirt. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, let me get your resume. Let me see what that looks like." And it was just white paper, black ink, very bland. And I'm like, "Well, if you're going to marketing, don't you think you would add some pizzazz, like some sparkle? I mean, something to make yourself kind of stand out and be interesting so people would be curious about who you are." And that was my mindset. Um, So that day I kind of sparked this interest in doing some life coaching. So bear with me. So I was like, I am going to be a life coach. And then I got home and I turned on Netflix and I watched Tony Robbins, I'm Not Your Guru. And I was like, if he could do this, I could definitely do this. Like, the thing that makes Tony Robbins so spectacular is his undoubtable energy. Like, he just has a lot of presence. And I said, if he could do this, I could do this. So I started out, my idea was life coaching. I want to be a life coach. And I'm like, you know, and then I enlisted two of my best friends, and I'm like, y'all gonna let me fix your life. So, so, um, and through that experience, I realized I don't want to fix people's lives. Like, this is difficult to try to fix people's lives. And another thing that I realized is, like, I am a continuous work in progress. So how can I fix people's life if I'm still trying to fix my own? Like, that's unrealistic, really, for me. And so the next thing that I did was what you're saying. I went through my past. So I wrote down every memory that I could remember in my life from my earliest memory. And I think I got as far back as 2 years old. And I started just writing everything down, like everything. And then I started to figure out where were the consistencies, like what was consistently there from the time I was 2 up until today. And the thing that was consistent was my ability to make friends, my ability to communicate well, my ability to aid and assist. So when I went through that, I started to think about, okay, so I know what's consistent here. I know what I'm great at from the age I was 2 till now. These are things that are never going to leave me. So what can I do with these skills? What job can I get into? What something can I create with these skills? And then I had another epiphany. I was like, man, these results just aren't happening for people. Like, people aren't getting hired for jobs without applying for them. That doesn't happen for people. People don't go to jobs and go on an interview and then they create a whole department for them. Like, that doesn't happen for people, but it always happened for me. So I said to myself, well, if this can happen for me, it must be something that I'm doing. And I can actually create a system around what I'm doing to help other people create these results for themselves. And voila, glue was born. And the name, the official glue, really came from my clients when I was working in hospitality, because they would always tell me, oh my God, girl, you just glue everything together. You make everything stick. And I'm like, okay. And then I took that idea, and I remember my grandmother always telling me things like, your family is all you got. Your family is your friends. You don't really need friends. You just need your family. And then I realized, like, throughout my entire life, I have had a very great extended family. Like, outside of my family inner circle, I've always maintained really great friendships. I've always had friends that I can always turn to, reliable, loyal, referable friends that I can always go to. And man, I can tell you how many careers I've had because of my friendships, because of my glue. So it was a no-brainer for me to create this business. And really, then when you asked me about the piece of legacy, I was thinking in my mind, I was like, I have 2 boys, and this isn't common anymore. Like, how people are handling people and the way we're connecting just isn't common anymore. We're so invested in the technological side of connection that we kind of forgot how to be humans on in on face-to-face interaction. And what does that look like for my children in the future? Are they going to be able to have the opportunities that I had when I was looking for work, or are they going to be able to get positions where people just open up pathways for them to be great? Is this going to happen for them? I didn't think so. So two sides of this glue coin is one, teaching people how to network, and two, building a better community for my kids to survive in when they get into the workforce.
I absolutely love that, Tollisha. Thank you for sharing that. And what I especially love is how do
They're not on Clubhouse.
Okay. Oh, let me make sure. 1 second. Thank you so much, Tollisha. I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me know. So you see, Tollisha is an expert there. She let me know I needed to connect with my in the group or team in Clubhouse. Thank you. I loved what you said there about people, right? It all starts with people. I mean, we really can't make a connection without actually having someone on that other end. So thank you for bringing that up. And also the way you intertwine your legacy about what your grandma told you, right? All the way back to when you were 2 years old and bringing it forward. And I can definitely say working with you, those skill sets are truly, truly something that you share with other people and help make us basically better networkers, right? That's the key here. So thank you for sharing about your personal legacy, but also the legacy you want to share with the community to make the community better. So that is fantastic. And I especially also enjoyed how you identified a problem and you create a solution. And that's what entrepreneurship is about. And that's what creating a legacy is about. Always creating a solution for whatever problem may be out there for ourselves, but also for other people. And also you highlighted, and one of the key things, and the reason I like working with you is because the humility in the sense that, we're all people working in progress, right? Nobody is perfect. You identify, that about yourself and those you work with as well. So that's what makes an even greater networker or strategist, is being able to identify that we know we're not perfect. We know we can't fix everything, but we'll try to fix the areas that we have an expertise in. And that's what you've done. So awesome job with that. Thank you for sharing. So now we know, in one of the gems I've taken away just now in what you stated, I'm definitely going to go back and journal all the way. I don't know if I can do until 2 years old, but I'm going to definitely go as far back as I can. That is awesome. Such a great way to carry that legacy on. So I don't know if you've already done this, but if you can, create a book with that for your family. That's a great way to carry on that legacy as well. So thank you. Now we know a little bit about your past. What about your present, the now? What are you doing now to be able to assist others? So maybe if you could give us 2 to 3 specific things that you work with, and you can share a little bit more about your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So currently, what I'm doing is we are really revamping the way the official glue has been operating. It's really um based on networking. How are we communicating with one another? How are we articulating our needs with other people? And how are we building a credible referral network? That is genuine networking. And the key component here is credible. We want to have people in our circle who have great credit with other people. And not everybody does. And that's something that we have to know. Not everybody that we know has great credit in the people category. So one of the other things that we're really implementing now presently is, how do we facilitate this through play? Because it's one thing to sit down and get a lecture on how we can network more effectively, but it's another thing to actually see it in motion and actually physically see exchanges happening and actually physically see the difference between this and that. So how the official glue is evolving is that we're taking some of the principles that we learned when we were in grade school and really elevating them to an adult setting and sharing how these skill sets that we learned when we were 2 and 3 up to like probably about 10, how we can actually duplicate those systems and the things that were never said. Those are the things like, when one of the ones that I use very often is like when you were a child and you would play on the swings, right? And how there was always one child that would be eager to push the other child. They would just be eager to do it. And their objective in that moment was to make sure that the person that was in the swing almost flipped over the rail, right? It's like, how high can we get you to go? And taking that small principle into your business life is a networking principle. How high can you get your counterparts to go? How far can you get them to go in their entrepreneurship journey? How far of a distance can you get them to go when you're deciding, I want to share them with some people I know? Where are you going to take them? Are you going to get them over the rail? And then there's that point of the person who is on the swing, who honestly, they get so high, they start to get a little scared. Like they feel fearful that, oh my God, I'm so high, something's going to happen to me. So they're like up there panicking. And quite frankly, that's the journey of entrepreneurship. When we get to our pinnacle of success, we also start to panic a little bit. But then you have the remaining kids on the playground who really support the person in the swing and telling them, oh, you could go higher. You could do more. You should see, let's see her go, And these are skills that we were doing effortlessly when we were 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. But somehow, as we got to adulthood, we kind of removed all of these soft skills. And now we are not even getting pushed and we're scared. No one's pushing us and we are nervous. So the momentum isn't there. We're not creating it. And so networking really helps you create momentum so that you can go higher faster. Because imagine if you were on the swing, you're scared to be on the swing, and the only thing you're doing is kicking your feet. Remember those days where you're just kicking your feet and you're like, why aren't I moving? Because your body isn't creating any momentum. You're just swinging your feet back and forth. And I think that's a great depiction of what entrepreneurship is. A lot of us are sitting on the swing and just kicking our feet, hoping that we move somewhere. But we need advocacy. We need affiliates to push us to our pinnacle. We need it. If we don't have it, we're sitting on a stale swing, hoping to get some momentum. And until we recognize, man, I need to move my entire body and start to exhaust all my energy to get myself going, we are like, oh, I don't even want to be on the swing anymore. Like, I'm done with the swing. So the objective in networking is for you not to quit networking, but be more effective in the work, right? Making sure that you bring a friend to the swing and say, hey, can you push me so that I can get higher faster? And then I'll do the same for you on the other side. When I'm done and I get to my panic point, guess what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to get off. I'm going to slow down, and I'm going to allow myself to be behind you and push you up, because that is what networking is. It's a reciprocal cycle. And when we recognize that there have been skills that we just haven't tapped into, and a small explanation of that can go so far in how you imagine what could be possible in your life today with the power of networking.
Wow. All I can say is, wow, Tollisha, you have me rocking.
You're not on Clubhouse.
Okay, thank you, Tollisha. Wow, you have me rocking over here. I'm ready to put all my energy and effort into it. That's amazing. Amazing. And those in the chat on Clubhouse or even here on Zoom, please let us know. What did you think of that concept of rocking, right? All your momentum into it. That is super amazing. And it ties into a concept that I know you and I have spoken about with the word synergy. One of my favorite words of all time. It's the whole is greater than the individual parts. You could be on the swing by yourself. You're not going to get far, right? Because you can't push yourself. You may a little bit, but if you have other people like on that playground surrounding you, supporting you, you're going to get there a lot quicker. Just like you said, I love that. The higher, the faster. Get there higher and get there faster. That's what synergy and this concept of the playground is about, right? The networking. And I thought about my 5-year-old son. I learned a lot from him, so much, all those basic concepts. Thank you, Michelle, for adding that. She loved the playground and swing analogy. Thanks, Tollisha. So I think of my son, 5 years old. He's learning some basic concepts now that he'll be able to use in life. But like you said, Talisha, we have to remember not to forget those. And sometimes we just need reminders about the basics. That's so, so important. And that word advocate, we all need advocates, right? And we want to be advocates for other. That is key. So one of the things, there's something I learned at the leadership experience tour that I had the privilege to be a part of. One of the speakers mentioned the importance of advocacy, just as you have, but she also mentioned something, a sponsor. So the difference between an advocate and a sponsor is a sponsor will elevate you even when you're not there. They'll elevate you at all times. They'll find ways to be out there in the community and talk about you, network about you. I love that too. So the advocate and the sponsor, key concepts, we will always want to take those back with us. So thank you for sharing that. And I will carry that concept about the swing with me forever now. Absolutely amazing. So
Well, you want to know something about that detail of advocacy. So I love breaking this down. So you just cracked open a hole. So if you guys got paper and pen, write down these notes, right? And when we go through the ladder of operations, as far as what networking is concerned, it's okay. You have your collaborators, right? You have your affiliates. Then you have your sponsorships, and then you have your brand partnerships, right? And if you think about the ladder of the order of operations, it all starts with collaboration. Your collaborator can become your sponsor. Your sponsor can become your brand affiliate, or your collaborator can become an affiliate. Your affiliate can become a sponsor. Your sponsor can become a partner. It's how are you working them up and down that ladder, right? So it's not finding two different people. It's moving people from one position to the next position. So this is why it's really important to know what it is that you are expecting from the person that you are connecting with. You have to know what those expectations are, because if you're expecting a sponsorship to be filled, but you're going in at a collaborative space and you're only speaking about collaborations, that collaboration will never turn into a sponsor. It won't happen, right? You have to know what your end game is so that you can set up all the coins to be in your favor. And one person can fill all 5 spots. They really can. You don't have to go out and find 50 different people. It's just, are you articulating what you need? And that is the missing component. Most people don't articulate what they need, or they're misinterpreting the vocabulary, right? So we get into collaborative stuff, which should be free. Collaborations are free incentives. They are win-win scenarios. That is what a collaboration is. If we are collaborating on something, it's going to be beneficial for you and it's going to be beneficial for me. We don't have to pay each other to do a collaboration. We are bringing together our resources so that we can grow the interest of the project. That's a collaboration, right? An affiliate isn't looking for the additive. They don't want to be a part of the project. They just want to say, yeah, I'm in it, but I'm not with it. I'm affiliated with it, but I'm not really working on it. I'm not doing any of the work. My job as an affiliate is just to share. Like, share what I'm caring about. Like, we are affiliates here. And my job isn't to show up in your room every day. My job is just to keep telling people that you have one as an affiliate, right? So as we could collaborate, where we're collaborating here, we're doing this right now. And we have moved from collaboration to affiliates, where you're in here, you're running rooms, and my job is to keep promoting it. Like promo. That's all I have to do. I don't have to come up with the content. I don't have to speak. I don't have to do any of that stuff because I've moved to a new position. Now, if I was to sponsor the room, I'd put some financial backing behind it, right? I'd create marketing incentives. I would pay for ads to get things going and running the room, making sure that your room is filled with viable, good resourceful people who want to know what you're doing. Sponsorship, right? Partnership is that we are sharing that financial responsibility, and we're saying we collectively are going to pay for the ad together. Anything that is going to be monetary, we're partnering, we're 50-50. So you're going to show up in the room half the time. I'm going to show up in the room half the time. You're going to pay for ads. I'm going to pay for ads. We're going to grow this thing together as partners, but we're also going to reap the benefits as partners. So if you were to get a sponsor to sponsor the room and they're like, oh, Cynthia, I'm going to pay you, then 50% of that commission is mine because we're partnered in this, right? So I think we have to understand the vocabulary of each position, because currently what's happening is that we will go and ask for collaboration and then we get hit with a big ticket. Like, oh, I want to collaborate with you, but it's going to cost you $500. It's like, wait, why? If collaboration is free, it doesn't cost anything to collab. Like, the benefit of collaboration is that we're collective resources. I have a platform, you have the audience. Let's mash them together and make something happen and grow the interest of this project, right? And I think we just aren't really thinking about what are we saying, and who are we saying it to? And are we articulating what we really want, or are we sharing something that we heard other people say? So figuring out what you really want in your network is so important, because you could be sharing a sentiment that doesn't really match your motives, that doesn't really match your gains, it doesn't really match your interests, and you're just sharing this because you think it's a great opportunity, but then it turns out to be your worst nightmare because you said you wanted to collaborate and now you're doing all the work, right? When you really wanted a sponsor, someone to, or you really wanted a partner. So making sure that we're really wise on the words that we're using, which is why messaging is an important piece of my business, and helping people kind of articulate and formulate messaging, because we have to be very, very careful about the words that we're using to articulate what we want, because one word can change its meaning in a heartbeat, and now you're in a very compromising situation.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I am amazed with that. You have broken it down so eloquently, first of all, Tollisha, thank you. And then also so passionately. I truly, before this conversation, never understood the specific definition of each the way you explained it. So thank you so much. That's another gem I have to take back. And yes, I did take your advice. I wrote all those down. I'm taking notes. So thank you for sharing it. And I saw a chat in the clubhouse that said, anytime we have a discussion with Tollisha, make sure you have a pen and paper. So true. So I hope some of you in the Zoom room and also in the chat room were able to take those notes. Thank you. I also enjoyed what you said about the words are powerful. So I'll put my legal hat on for just a second, because it's so true, Tollisha. When we think of a contract, to your point, you always want to make sure the expectations are laid out and there's the same understanding on both sides of the paper, right? Always making sure. Yes, Michelle, thank you for adding that in there. So true. Exactly. And I love the participation here. So thank you all for participating. So exciting. So thank you for breaking those out. I love it. And those of you who are on the call, I'll make sure that Norman is on the call with me. He's my virtual assistant, that we get those definitions out, because I want to make sure Tollisha gets credit for that as well, but also to know that she's sharing these gems free. That's part of that collaboration, right? So make sure that we work to implement these things. And also, you don't need 4 different people. You can have the same person in that different capacity, just making sure the expectation is laid out, as Tollisha mentioned. And it brought back a memory of when I was back in grad school and I had to read the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Began with the end in mind. So anytime we talk about anything, you want to make sure that you have that end in mind, as you mentioned, Tollisha. So it just kind of brought that all back together, and it really made sense when you said that. So I appreciate you putting that connection there. Thank you so much. So I have learned so much. How about everybody in the room? Clubhouse, if you learned something, thumbs up. Zoom, let me know in the chat. Is this working for you? Is it good for you? I'll just take a quick moment, take a look at the chat here. Golden Nuggets. Yay, Ebony. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Golden Nuggets. All right. And I see, yes, thank you all for coming. Awesome. And what's your DNA? Love it. Love it. Thank you, Ebony. So, oh, gems, 3 gems there. And anybody, oh, and some in the chat here, very informative. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you bringing that up, Jeanette. Great content. Thank you. And Yvonne, thumbs up. I appreciate it. So I'm so excited that you're getting information here that you can utilize and in your daily life as part of your legacy immediately. You can put this into action immediately. So thank you. So we've talked a little bit about your past, Tollisha. We've talked about the present. And then now I'm very interested to hear, because you talked about thinking about that end in mind, what are your future goals? What are some of the future goals that either we can help you with, or that you haven't, that you would like to lay out for this particular group?
Well, I'm going to share this with you all. I remember when I started in Clubhouse, when I started my Clubhouse journey, I came into Clubhouse with the mindset of, I am going to be a TED speaker. Like, that was the 100% focus. Like, I was just going on stages, dropping gems every time I can get an opportunity. But I had a very specific goal where I am going to be a TED speaker, but I will not apply for it. I will be invited to speak. So this is like my holy grail goal, like to be invited to come and speak on a TED stage, because, and then it kind of makes more sense to me now. And I'm like getting back into the momentum of, this is something that you should really, really continue to strive for, right? Because, in this current climate, anybody could be a TED speaker. There was a point where TED was an elite stage, where it was like you had to have like really good credit as a person to be a TED speaker. But now it's like, COVID changed that. COVID made it different. So it would validate my work if I was invited. I don't want to be an applicant and be like everyone else. I want to strive for the pinnacle, which is TED, but as an invited guest, like a Brene Brown type situation, right? That's like, and so again, I love documentaries, and I watched her documentary. And when she opened the documentary, she said, TED invited me. And I was like, TED invites? Ooh, that's a goal, right? So again, you can be inspired by all things, everything. The 3 things that I always share, and I know we always talk about why, and how, your future should really align with that big why. Like, why am I doing this? And I'm like, man, for my whole life, why has been a complicated question. Like, why? It's just so complicated. It's so convoluted. It's so distant. It's so far out that I can never see the why. I can't. But the things that can keep me in line with the why is the what. What can I do independently without the assistance of someone else? So when we go back to my past, I figured that out. What can I do? The 3 things: I can communicate. I know how to make friends. I know how to create opportunities for myself. Those are things that I can do without someone's help. Like, I don't need help to do that stuff. And then what can I learn? So it's really making sure that I'm always setting myself up to learn. Like, I learn things from my clients. I learn things from being on Clubhouse. I learn things from being on Instagram. I learn things from being on LinkedIn. I learn things when I go to networking events. I am always searching for opportunities to learn, right? And then what can I offer? When I combine the two, and I say, what can I do independently? And I add the new things that I've learned to that foundation, I have better offers. So the offers are always evolving. They're always changing. And when I talk to people about social media and this whole idea of like repurpose your content, I have like a love-hate relationship with that, because if we're consistently working within our purpose and we're consistently learning new ideas and innovating on that foundation of our core, then we're consistently creating new evolving ways to articulate what we're doing. We're consistently doing that. So content should be ever green, like always in motion. The momentum should always be there. Like you should always have new stuff to present, right? And then we get into the rabbit hole of consistency and frequently, and this new vibration of life isn't something that's going to happen frequently, but we are consistently growing. Consistently, we're not making huge leaps in growth every single day, but we're consistently growing, right? And I think when I think about networking virtually, it is that sentiment that keeps me kind of like here now in the present. I try not to go so far in the future, because those future goals really keep you stuck, and you get into a space where your only destination is 5 years from now, and you forget to like breathe the air that you're in right now. You forget to smell the roses and enjoy the coffee, and you forget to celebrate the win of yesterday because you're so focused on the win in 10 years from now. So the future goal, the pinnacle, is to be invited to speak for TED, but it's all of the small speaking gigs that I'm doing now that are really keeping me in contentment, where I'm truly satisfied with my business. I love what I do. I love having this space on Clubhouse to allow other people to share their purpose with other people. Like that's exciting for me. I love putting content on social media to share my thoughts that are coming in my brain. Some of them well, all of them. I can't even say some. All of them are really like thoughts that came into my brain, and I wonder what would happen if we put a post up to say, what are you doing for prompts? Like what would that do? Who's going to respond to that? And then from the responses, I get another prompt to go and make some more content. And from that content, I get prompted to do something else. So I'm living in a very impromptu life where I'm just prompted to do the next thing, because I don't want to go so far in the future and miss all of the great things that have happened to me today.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it, Tollisha. And look, I have my coffee here. I'm enjoying it. So, so you know, I agree. It's so important to celebrate those small successes, right? Because those lead up to the big ones. And I can tell you, I marked down the day today, and your long-term goal, right, of being invited to TED. I know you will be, and I'll be there to celebrate with you. I just want you to know that I will be there to celebrate with you and listen with you. So awesome job. Thank you for sharing that. And then also, I love the point about consistently growing, because we really, things are changing. We can't stay stagnant. I always tell people, if you think of a body of water and it's stagnant, it becomes stagnant. What does it do? It smells. Well, we don't want to be smelly. We want to make sure we stay fresh with the changing environment out there, right? Especially on social media. So I know you do that. And I appreciate the point that you said that everything you put on social media is from you, right? Those are your thoughts. It's not something that somebody else has created for you. It's you. And that's part of that DNA piece, right? It's coming from you. And it's so important to make sure we're authentic in that sense, and making sure we know that we're sharing who we truly are, our authentic selves, and nobody else can be us. So when something comes from you, I know this is Tollisha stamped on it. Her DNA is on it. So thank you for that, Tollisha. I really appreciate it. So I know we are coming to, yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to say, well, the one thing that really is beneficial when you've come to a place where you are truly authentic, because this is a word that
Yes.
we're just saying,
Yeah.
and true authenticity is no regrets. never retracting, right? Where I've seen many things where people like would say something and then 4 months later they're saying something completely different than what they were saying 4 months ago. And
Right.
it's because it didn't come from them. It was something that they heard, they regurgitated, and now they heard something that was contradicting, and now they're sharing the contradicting thought. But what does that do for your reputation, honestly? And getting it back to networking, like networking, you have to build credit. And
Yeah.
credibility comes from you being you. It really does. And strategically placing those ideas and thoughts into circumstances, but they're all coming from your core. They're all coming from who you are. I mean, if you were to backtrack anything that I've done over the past 3 or 4 years, you would hear a consistent vibration in the things that I'm sharing. Like, they haven't really changed. The presentation of that information has evolved over time, but the
Yeah.
core consistency of it is the same. And and I think about brands like glue, like Elmer's glue. How long has Elmer's glue been a product? For
Right.
as long as I've been living, maybe longer, right?
Mhm.
And the consistency of that product is the same. It hasn't really changed. You can rely on glue.
That's right.
You can rely on it. And then what have they done? They've evolved their product. They've come up with evolutionary ways to stick things together. But that Elmer's glue, school glue situation is still available if you want it today, right? And then we have glue sticks, and then we have rubber cement, and then we have Gorilla Glue. We have tape. We got all these different variations. But the thing that I learned about glue is that they all come from the same formula, right?
Mhm.
All the variations started with the basic formula, the basic information. And what they've taken is they've added a one component, a little bit more of one component, or decreased one component. But the formula is the same. And they've taken that structure, that formula, and have created evolutionary products because of it. But we're always going to go back to the glue. Like, we're always going to go back to school glue. If you need glue right now, I think the first thing that you're going to think of is either Elmer's glue or Gorilla Glue. Like,
Right.
those are the variations that you're going to think of immediately. And when you think of your business, you want that same reliability. You want your customers and the people who are going to advocate for your business and affiliate for it to get that sense of reliability. Like, the information that she's going to share, it's always going to be there. And I can guarantee that if I'm in a room with her, she's going to give us something great. I can guarantee that if I was on her content and social media, that there's something good's going to be there. I know that I'm going to learn something from her. I know that she's going to help me stick a problem together. I know that she's going to create some contact for me. I know that. And that is the thing that you want to have. So the learning and ever essent part is building new, being inventive, and coming up with different strategies. But the core, that's the messaging, right? Shouldn't change so much. It really shouldn't change every 5 seconds. Your messaging shouldn't sound different, completely different from what it
Right.
was 5 years ago. It should be consistently growing. Like, you're adding words that are going to add more depth, add more security, add more reliability, add more loyalty, add more social proof, add more, but never remove. And so when you talk about that, it's about the 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 removal of and the back and forth of retracting what you're saying. When you're not being authentic, you're going to have to go back and cover and replace and say I'm sorry and be apologetic a whole lot because you weren't living true to yourself. You were just copycatting. And I would love to empower people not to be copycats. I want people to really figure out, what are you great at? And let's find how we can use that greatness to help you stick to the people who you really want to. Who do you want to stick to? Who are your people? Let's find them. Let's collect them. Let's bring them all to you. And you can just ooze out all of your loving all over them, instead of retracting and rebuilding and trying to reposition and make new and readjust so that we can collect all. We don't need everyone. We need our people. We don't need 100 pennies. We need one penny, that one shiny penny. I think we get into a place where we're just looking for the collection and we're not really looking for the connections. And so really searching for the connections and being authentic is important. Especially when we're talking about DNA. I mean, honestly, we all have one thumbprint. It's not duplicated. It's an individual identification of who we are and how we can manage and how we're helping people, how we're serving people. And your business is like your thumbprint. It is the thumbprint of your legacy. So what is that print going to be? Is it going to be something that you're going to have to wipe away and start over? Or is it going to be something that's going to last a long time and people can rely on it?
Oh my goodness, I love that. It's so true because I don't even know where to start with this. Everything you just shared with there is so important. And of course, you touched my heart when you said DNA, right? That's one of my favorite words, DNA, because nobody else can be us. We are our authentic selves, right? Nobody else can be Tollisha. Nobody else can be Cynthia, Michelle, Norman, Ebony, Lisa. Nobody else. So that is what we bring to the table, and it's so important to utilize that to be able to make those positive connections. And that's what attracted me to the Official Glue, because it's quality connections. We are here to help each other out. Oh, and I apologize for those of you on Clubhouse. I was saying it, but not. Let me restate that. Just I wanted to thank Tollisha for bringing that up, because I mentioned the heart. DNA is one of my favorite words. And of course, we are unique. Each individual here is unique. That's what we bring to the table, and the quality connections that I find in the Official Glue. So anybody interested, definitely reach out to Tollisha regarding the Official Glue. She's always looking to make sure the right connections are being made to be a part of this. And I do want to just, if you could share with us, Tollisha, I know we're closing out here. It's about 6 more minutes, but could you share with maybe just the 3 top gems, a few words maybe, and then I'd like to open it up to the group. Okay.
Absolutely. I think we covered a lot of things today. I think that when we're talking about networking, it's really important. The first thing is messaging. Really important that we collect a very succinct and clear message. And just so we are clear about messaging can only do 2 things for your business. It can create interest or curiosity. The better the message, the more curious people are about what you are and how you help people. It is different from a elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is your offer. It is how are you positioning your offer in that elevator? You only get a couple of minutes to make a deal. What's the deal? That's the elevator pitch. So messaging is really important. And once you build something, it's not removing any of that goodness. It's adding to it. The other thing that I would say is what we talked about understanding the elevator ladder of how people will stack up in your network of collaboration, affiliation, partnership, sponsorship, and those things that we talked about. And then the other thing is really, I think we spoke about content too, because now we're virtually networking, right? This is part of our livelihood and how we're connecting with people all over the country. But everything that you put on social media lives forever, except with the exception of stories. Right? So the things that are in your feed, really be conscious about what you place in your feed. Be strategic with your feed, because it's going to be there forever. Think about your feed as your business encyclopedia. If you're giving out a whole crap load of information, this is the place where people can go and find it easily. Like, I want to know a little bit more about this topic. How can I do this? And there it is, right? Or I tell other people it's like your business scrapbook. So you get to see how you've evolved over time. But just be conscious of the fact that this stuff lives forever until you delete it, right? And you don't want to be the person who's deleting things all the time because you're always retracting statements. You want people to see your evolution. You want people to see where you started and how it's evolving and growing. How is it stacking up? Because you want to build credit. So this is your line of credit, per se, your social media. So make it credible, make it something that is memorable, that people really want to go back to, and they can source through the entire thing and see, oh my God, she's been dropping gems since 1997, like that type of thing. So just be conscious about what it is that you're placing in your feed and how you're using these tools to grow and evolve your interests, your motives. Like, these are tools, and we should really think about them that way, especially since we're all business owners. It's fun. It's a great thing for us to do, but it is also a needle mover, and it is a tool that you can use to help you grow your business. So with strategy, it can happen. Opportunities can open for you. You can get invited to do things that you never applied for. I just want you to know, right? You can get opportunities for things that you never imagined that you would be doing by having a good strategy and being very consistent with your message and sharing the information to the right people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tollisha. That's a great way to close that out. You've dropped so many gems today. I really appreciate it. One that I personally will take back is the line of credit, because everything we do is like that line of credit, right? Nobody wants to take a risk with us if we have low credit. So we want to make sure we're always working to improve our credit. So love that concept, that analogy. So we do have just a few minutes, a couple of minutes. I want to be sensitive to your time, but I do want to open it up to anybody on Clubhouse. If you want to share a message, something you've taken back, a gem you'll be able to implement immediately. And also here on Zoom, if you want to put in the chat or come on board and let us know on camera, whichever you prefer. We could do that. So let's see here. I do see Ebony said, thank you, Ebony, for sticking through this and being here with us. Really appreciate it. And also I see Lisa in the room. Thank you. So if anybody would like to share a gem with us that you'll be able to take back, Tollisha gave us so many gems. I wish I had a bucket here to put them all in, Tollisha. That would be awesome. I'd be rich, definitely be rich from that. So let's go ahead and see here. I do see Lisa. Oh, she gave us a heart. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Michelle, did you have something you wanted to add? That's a gem you want to take away?
Nope, just wanted to tell you guys great job, and I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you being here. Michelle is one of those where she's an advocate and a sponsor. So thank you for always being here and supporting Michelle. I appreciate you. And you'll be on the same platform stage one day too. So definitely keep that in mind. We'd love to have you. All right.
Isn't that crazy how you can just that small piece of information, I'm gonna say it again. Isn't that crazy how that small piece of information now have you like, you're like, oh, I know exactly what Michelle is for me. I know exactly what she is for me. I know exactly what I can, what she can do to help me. I know exactly what I can do to help her. It like just placing has brought clarity. You said, hey, Michelle is an advocate and or affiliate and a sponsor, right? So with those two identities, she gets different tasks. Honestly, there's two different tasks that you can give her that fall under those categories. And that's setting the expectation. And if Michelle wants to move into business partner, now she knows, well, Cynthia has categorized me as her affiliate and a sponsor, but I would love to be her business partner so we can open up that conversation around that, right? So it's just the articulation and understanding, like, where are you? What is this relationship that we have? So many people have relationships and they're super unclear of what it is. Like, are we dating? Are we are we getting married? Like, we don't have any idea. And then we're surprised, like at the end, like, oh shoot, he wanted to marry me. I had no idea. I'm not ready for that, right? Because we're not really sharing with our community what their position is in our life. And honestly, it really makes you feel better. Like, the pressure's off when you know that, Michelle, your only responsibility is to share. And if Cynthia said, hey, you know what, I would love to run an ad. Do you want to help me fund this ad? you kind of are like, great, I know that that's all I'm gonna have to do. I don't really have to show up. I don't have to put on makeup and get dressed. I'll
Right.
do it. It's a yes
Right.
for me, which I will leave everyone with. That is when you know that you are on the yes side of your business. When your people are like, it's a yes for me. I don't even have to ask you questions. I know exactly what my role is. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And what do you need me to do within that role? It's a yes.
That's right. That's amazing. I love that. And you see how we can apply it immediately. So there you go. There, that's a sign of a great discussion. So that is a sign of a great discussion when we can apply immediately. Great. And Lisa, I see you came up as a speaker. Is there something you wanted to share about a gem that you can take back with you immediately? She's
I don't necessarily have a gem. Well, actually, I do have a gem. I'll share it and then I'll ask a question. Hopefully, you'll be able to help me. Getting clarity, staying focused, and exercising that focus.
Yeah.
I am still a work in progress. At times, I find I am all over the place because I feel like there's so much that I want to do, but I cannot do that because that's not talking to my ideal client. And I want to establish trust in the people that I'm trying to serve, that I am the authority in that area and not the authority in 1,000 different areas. So that's my gem, clarity and being focused. And then I have a question. I don't know where the comment was made, and I never got to follow up about followers here in Clubhouse. Like, well, about who you follow, I guess I should say, on Clubhouse. Like how important it is when you're selecting people who you're going to follow. Now, I know sometimes I'll get notifications that pop up for weird rooms that I wouldn't go in. But I was just wondering, like, how do you determine who to follow and how important is following? And I hope that's not too long of a question for you to answer in the time you still have the room open. I yield my mic.
Thank you, Lisa. That's a great question. And I'll leave it up to our network strategist to be able to answer that. Do you have time to do that? I know we're a little bit over. Tollisha, can I keep you for a few more minutes, or do you want to?
Absolutely. I believe in the fluff. So
Oh,
if you're not fluffing your calendar, you kind
okay.
I'm a chatty girl and I know myself. So I do love, first, one thing I want to address is the first half of your question, which was, the clarity and the focus and being the authority in your area, not all areas. And I think that with this idea of multifaceted entrepreneurship, we get so distracted about all of the things that we can do. And honestly, what you're saying is 100% right. And I always say, lead with the need, right? Lead with the need. So you have many things that you can do, but I want you to imagine like you're fishing with a net. And would you put bread in that net if you're trying to catch a shark? Right? No, you're going to put a piece of meat in that net to catch a shark. So you have to know what you want to bait your audience with. What bait are you going to put in the net to get them interested? Once they're caught up, they will buy all the things that you have to offer. They will just roll from one offer to the next offer to the next offer if your business is set up like that. Mine particularly is, I want to help you. I want to and let you go like a little ducky or a little bird. I don't want you to stay with me forever. I want you to get the help that you need. I want you to leave and I want you to share. So bring me back something else. Bring me someone new. But if your business is set up where they're going to go into one thing and then go into another thing, and that you have a couple of different offers until the end of your offer train, then which one would be your leading offer? And 90% of the time, it should be your medium offer, your medium level offer. Ask yourself this, and I know who you are, so I'm going to give you this. Why do we cook a steak at medium temperature? Why is medium the premier temperature for a steak? Because medium, everybody would love. and there's room to overcook it if necessary. That is why, right? So it is the average way to prepare a steak. So what is your average offer? What is the middle offer that you have? And you can start leading with that. And then when we get into the follower part, right? Now you can start to critique your offer, because you're going to start listening a lot more to what your audience actually needs. And once you find out what they actually need, then you're going to transition offers. Your probably high ticket offer will become your lead offer, or your low ticket offer will become your lead offer. So you can always transition offers. We think that we have to offer all the things, but it's not. You got to offer one thing and then transition those things as needed when your audience is saying, you know what, we're growing out of that pot. Now we want to be in a new pot. Tell us the new thing. What's the next offer? What's the next option after medium? It's medium well, tell us what's going to get us to a well done point. And then secondly, when it comes to following here on, I'm going to address following on any platform, because following is equivalent to referrals. Think of when you are following people, you are definitely referring them on social media and in real life, right? Because here on social media, especially on Clubhouse, why they set it up so that who you follow makes a difference is because your followers are referring you to rooms. So the people that you follow are saying, hey, I'm going in here, I'm going to refer you to this room. And the same thing with Instagram, but it's a little backwards. It's the people that follow you are getting referred to your audience. So following is really important on both sides of the spectrum. So here it's really important for you to be strategic about who you are following. And on social media, it's really important for you to keep your followers clean, like on Instagram. So I suggest that you go through your followers every 30 days, the people who are following you, and clear it out so that you always keep a good referral pot. When people are checking you out, they look to see who is following her. Who is following her? And if you allow people who aren't really compatible with you, they're sharing content that you would never agree with, and all these things, to be a follower of yours, and you're following them, then you're sharing the wrong idea to the people who are researching you. So following, the number is less important than the quality of the pot. So make sure that you always keep a good pot.
Wow, fantastic. Lisa, I hope that helped. Wow, fantastic. Lisa, I hope that helped you. I know it helped me. I really appreciated that, Tollisha. So just to give an example as well, in my case, so I know, there's that multifaceted approach, right? So bottom line is I help individuals launch, build, and protect their legacy. But the protecting, the trademarking comes later once I work with them from an initial perspective, right? So my ideal audience would be anybody with a business, because that's their legacy. And I'm your favorite legacy lady. So that's where that same message ties through. And of course, I'll be reaching out to Tollisha in the future, and we can definitely work to tweak that. But because she is definitely the expert to making sure the right message goes out and it's clear. So Tollisha, thank you so much for joining us. Lisa, I appreciate you coming to the stage and asking that very, very important question that I know other people will have as well. And also, Michelle, I appreciate your participation, Yvonne as well, and those others who had joined the room and had to leave. So Tollisha, especially you, thank you for your fluff calendar. I appreciate that, because we're able to stay on track a little bit longer. All right. So thank you. Thank you so much. I hope all of you were able to gain something. I know I did from this particular event. I'm a strong believer in the KISS theory. Keep it simple, student. That's what Tollisha has done for us, because we're all lifelong learners. We're all students of life. So thank you. We'll close it out now. I'll close out the Clubhouse room, and we will keep this on. The recording will be coming out soon, so please keep an eye for that so you can follow up, add to the chat with that. And thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Bye. Bye.